So we are just hours away from perhaps the most important Oval Office meeting in some time. The rematch between Trump and Zelensky. I call it a rematch because that first one was pure body language gold. And we're here to analyze Zelensky's body language in his latest, or in his the last two statements he gave on camera ahead, not only ahead of Trump's meeting with Putin, but right after that meeting. And of course, just before that summit in the White House today, what we are all expecting. But first clip that we'll analyze is this from Shadow of Ezra. And yes, you can see that the clip is from RT. I can understand that you might have your qualms about the translation, but I already double-checked, that the translation was accurate. It is accurate, so we can just take a look at this. Ukrainian President Zelensky issues an urgent warning to the world that Putin and Russia have no interest in peace. This was ahead of the meeting with of Trump and Putin, all right? So he was trying to frame that meeting as useless already. He says Moscow continues its killing spree and shows no intention of ending the war. His comments come just ahead of a summit between Trump and Putin. There's no order nor any signals from Moscow that is preparing to end this war. And, well, sure enough, there were still attacks both from Russia to Ukraine and from Ukraine to Russia in terms of, Zelensky sent a lot of drones into Russia that morning. I think it's par for the course. They're still in war. There's no ceasefire. So anything goes, right? But let's analyze his body language to see if he was really sure of his own words.
Отримую доповідь від нашої розвідки, від дипломатів про підготовку зустрічі на Алясці, про те, з чим їде Путін. Ми отримуємо також доповідь з регіонів України після російських ударів. Суми, російський удар по центральному ринку, Дніпровщина, удари по містах та підприємствах, Запоріжжя, Херсонщина, Донеччина, свідомі російські удари.
Okay, this is a way of framing things. He talks about that ahead of the meeting between Trump and Putin, there have been strong attacks, or there have been attacks in all these Russian, not Russian occupied areas, but the areas of Ukraine that Russia is trying to claim. So he's trying to frame it as, at the same time that this is happening, there's still Russian attacks ongoing. Well, precisely. There's no ceasefire. There has been no ceasefire, and this is something that many people have not understood. Right now, he is just recording from a laptop camera. That's why the camera is so low. That is my guess. And he is looking at the screen. I guess that this is a laptop. He makes sure to, have no sort of jacket. He is like hands on all the time. We're still waiting if he's going to wear a suit for today's Oval Office meeting. Many of you say, why would you care? That is important. Believe me, that is important. And he makes sure to show all those badges on the background. You know that all the we could think of them as accolades or medals or something. I think that those are badges instead. It would be interesting to know what they mean. But, well, it has been on both sides of him. We can make some kind of cheating here with the frame. There's also there, right there, to his other side, just in case you see the whole frame. There's also have a symbolism, the semiotics. What is the setting? What are the place that he is speaking from and the angle that he is speaking from? Like, this is just really quick from a laptop. This is urgent, an urgent message. This is the way that he sends this message in the setting with the angle. Everything is like, this is an urgent message to all of you. This is a way of conveying that style of message.
Війна триває саме через те, що немає не тільки наказу, але й сигналів про підготовку Москви завершувати цю війну.
All right, again, he's framing this as in, no matter what talks are going to be taking place, Russia's still attacking, but again, there's no ceasefire, so it is a bit nonsensical what he's saying. Nobody's saying that Ukraine should stop attacking Russia or that Russia should stop attacking Ukraine. That's nobody has said that.
В день перемовин вони теж вбивають, і це багато говорить. Напередодні ми обговорили зі Сполученими Штатами Америки, з європейцями, що дійсно може спрацювати. Усім потрібне чесне закінчення війни. Україна готова працювати максимально продуктивно, щоб завершити війну. Сподіваємось на сильну позицію Америки. Все буде.
As another thing, it is already on the table that the United States could offer guarantees. You remember that first meeting at the Oval Office that the topic was guarantees, that Zelensky kept pushing for Donald Trump to say something about guarantees and tried to push for those live in front of the cameras and not having talked about the guarantees before. And I remember Marco Rubio's face. That was pure body language gold as well. But right now, they might have been talking about guarantees with, off cameras, and might be arriving on some kind of, guarantee for Ukraine. Maybe that is the way. And Zelensky, this is important. He said, I'm getting ahead of myself. He said in the next clip that we're going to analyze.
Буде від цього залежати. Росіяни зважають на американську силу. Саме на силу. Продовжуємо координацію з нашими партнерами в Європі. Говорив сьогодні з президентом Франції Макроном. Команда також контактує. Різниця в часі з Аляскою 11 годин. Тож завтрашній день для всіх в Європі.
So yeah, he was coordinating with his European friends, and all the European friends are coming, including but not limited to. I think that Giorgia Meloni is the most neutral in the here, but all of them, Macron, Keir Starmer, von der Leyen, you know what they want. But also, Trump has huge leverage over them, and Trump has the ways to deal with Putin. What Trump essentially wants to do is to say, hey, you know what? It would be great to have a business between all the countries, but for that, we need peace. And first and foremost, and I think that is the most important thing for Trump. And for every country, Russia, Ukraine, the European Union, the United States, in the first place, first and foremost, of course, to thrive economically, and that can only happen with a peace. To get rid of all these conflicts, it would be amazing if the world could just let's do business together. This is the second clip in which I tell you there's problems ahead of this Oval Office meeting.
Russia is still unsuccessful in Donetsk region. Putin has been unable to take it for 12 years, and the constitution of Ukraine makes it impossible to give up territory or trade land. Since the territorial issue is so important.
Notice it's important. He acknowledges that the territorial issue is so important. That is it's let's say points to Zelensky for at least acknowledging that that's on the table.
It's so important. It should be discussed only by the leaders of Ukraine and Russia at the trilateral Ukraine, United States, Russia.
So notice this has been taken out of context many times, because yes, I also mentioned that on a previous video on my Power Pundit channel, that he says that the constitution of Ukraine makes it impossible that he should say himself, I am not concede any sort of territory. But the problem is that this clip was cut out of context. It was needed the rest of the clip to understand that it's not impossible because of the constitution, because he says it should be discussed. All right, so there's a possibility. It can be discussed only by the leaders of Ukraine and Russia, and the trilateral Ukraine, United States, Russia. So he's offering the possibility that if there's a meeting between the United States, Ukraine, and Russia, there can be there can be an agreement in terms of the territorial stuff. So there's a possibility. And he makes sure to read this. Notice that he, in the other statement before the meeting between Trump and Putin, he was basically maybe reading off the cuff. I don't know. Maybe he was reading some kind of words on a screen. We don't know. It could be 50-50. But here he was making sure to read from a very tight written script to make sure that he didn't say anything out of what are his true intentions. And if he says that the territorial stuff can be discussed by, well, both Russia and Ukraine with the United States as intermediary, that is a great thing. I can say that is a great thing. That is at least something good ahead of that meeting with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said as well that if everything goes well today, maybe there could be a trilateral meeting as soon as before next Friday, this very week. So again, this week is going to be packed with stuff. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of, there's this, I think this is the best chance that everyone has to stop the Russia-Ukraine war. So let's see how this develops. There's one last clip.
It's Russia. So far, Russia gives no sign that trilateral will happen. And if Russia refuses, then new sanctions must follow.
But what happens if there's actually a trilateral meeting? We will have to find out. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Battle Language Guy. Much love and bliss.